Hi, meteorologist Matthew East here along with you. Wanted to give you a quick update on our winter storm for the upcoming weekend. Really not a lot of wholesale changes from my thinking now compared to 24 hours ago. I'm going to step you through a few computer models and give you some initial accumulation ideas here as the video rolls along. Let me start off again as I did yesterday with the upper levels. This is the 500 millibar chart off of the, as I cut the video, most recent run of the European model, the 6C run. So you see this piece of energy diving down through the plane states. There it is. That is daybreak Saturday. That piece of energy, that upper level low, then makes its way across the deep south and then makes that turn to the left and heads up into the northeastern part of the country. Now, if you want a pure snow event in your area, you generally want to keep this upper level feature a little bit off to your south. And of course, that is not the case here for a large portion of the Carolinas. And so for a lot of folks in the Carolinas outside of the higher mountain spots, this is a mixed precipitation event. And of course, it makes for a very challenging forecast. Now, let me show you the European model in terms of precipitation fields here. And again, as always, you take the precipitation type depiction shown here with a huge grain of salt. That's just the model's best guess looking at the thermal profiles of the atmosphere. But I'll step you out here in time. Let's go to, well, let me get the right parameter clicked here. There we go. All right, so that is 1 a.m. Sunday, and that is 7 a.m. Sunday. So you see, as we go late into Saturday night into Sunday morning, an initial hit of snow in northeast Georgia, parts of northwestern South Carolina, and then roughly I-85 in points north and west in the North Carolina area, and of course up into the mountains. Then we get out to late morning and early afternoon, and you see the snow has ended and transitioned to a wintry mix in a lot of the foothills in the Piedmont. And the reason is this. Let me go right here. All right, so this is 11 a.m. Sunday. Surface temperatures. All right, let me pull that up here. So the surface temperature, let's just look at Charlotte, for instance, 26 degrees. Obviously well below freezing. Upper level temperatures as we go above our heads, 925 millibars, that's about 2,500 feet, still well below freezing. But then you go to 850 millibars, 5,000 feet roughly, and you're looking at temperatures 2, 3, 4 degrees Celsius. That's that warm nose, that layer of warmer air aloft that has moved in. And when you get temperatures at 850 that are that warm, that melts the falling snowflakes, and then you look at really the rest of the atmospheric profile to see whether it is sleet or freezing rain that then occurs, assuming your surface temperatures are below freezing, as they are in this scenario. And that, of course, is a big, big difference in terms of the severity of the impacts, sleet versus freezing rain. So I'll step you through the end of this model run. There is 7 p.m. Sunday, the precipitation shield exiting. And I do think there's a chance that we see the little comma head back end snow sweep across a good chunk of the region, could add another couple inches of snow in some spots. So again, that particular model, the European, I'll show you the precipitation accumulations that it is depicting. First of all, there's the snow totals. Pretty much foregone conclusion. The mountains are going to get a huge snow event out of this, 8, 10, 12 inches plus in a wide scale fashion. Foothills do pretty well, but they'll be battling some sleet, and then it gets much more questionable, and it becomes a matter of how long snow can hold on as you get down closer to I-85 versus transitioning to sleet and freezing rain. So sleet totals in the European look like that. There's the freezing rain totals. Now keep in mind that freezing rain, the model depictions of those freezing rain accumulations, you don't get 100% efficiency with that freezing rain accumulation. There's runoff, there's things like that. But certainly you're looking at the potential for a significant footprint of freezing rain. Regional Canadian model, again, I mentioned previously, a lot of times the regional Canadian does a very, very good job with the thermal fields, the temperatures with these types of scenarios. So you just look at what it's showing. I'll just quickly step you through that. There's daybreak Sunday. There is early afternoon Sunday, freezing rain near Charlotte and points just east, sleet just north of I-85, and then snow up in the mountains and the foothills. And then the precipitation draws to a close. And so the regional Canadian, let me show you its precipitation and totals here. There's the snow totals, and there's the sleet. It's much heavier handed, say, for instance, around Charlotte with the sleet than what we just saw in the European model. And there's your freezing rain depiction. All right. Let's see. I'll step you to the GFS now. This is the 12Z run of the GFS. That was the 12Z, the latest run of the regional Canadian. There's Daybreak Sunday. Very in Charlotte, in fact, this model taken verbatim, you don't get any snow really at all around Charlotte. It starts off as sleet and freezing rain and stays that way until you get that comma head, that back end snow I mentioned, kind of pivot through that is being depicted there on the GFS. And so, again, I'll show you what it shows in terms of accumulation amounts. Big time snows, mountains, and many foothill spots. For instance, this particular model has almost a foot of snow in Hickory. And then a sharp decline as you get closer to I-85, again, as you get into those mixed precipitation types. There's the sleet on the GFS model. There is the freezing rain. So, and again, just to show you, I'll step you through one more model here. This is the NAM, the North American model. Again, a lot of times the NAM does pretty well with the thermal profiles similar to the regional Canadian. So there is Daybreak Sunday, initial snow, Northeast Georgia, parts of the upstate of South Carolina, into parts of the Charlotte metro, especially just north and west of town. And then you see that transition zone kind of march northwest as the event unfolds. And so that's the end of the run, which is 7 p.m. Sunday. Still a little more precipitation to go on this high-resolution North American model. But again, I'll show you the precipitation types. There's the snow totals right there. And there's the sleet. There's the freezing rain. All right, one last model, and then I'll show you the forecast. All right, this is what's called the NBM, the National Blend of Models, and this is, as you might expect, a blend of multiple different computer models. And, this is a relatively new tool in terms of weather history, but I'll show you its snow totals, and I think that's pretty reasonable. I think that looks pretty good. And then you get a much lower footprint of ice, and the reason is because, again, this is a blend of models, so some of the models indicate more sleet, some indicate more freezing rain, so when you blend them all together, you get a lower freezing rain total when you look at, again, that blend. But that's going to be the forecast challenge. The I-85 corridor especially might be on that battle zone between sleet and freezing rain. Freezing rain could be very, very significant in some spots. And so let me just then show you what we're looking at in terms of an initial forecast here. All right, so this is what we have come up with as a Spectrum News 1 staff, kind of combining some of our thoughts. And this is an initial idea. I will be in the weather office Saturday morning. We'll make any tweaks and adjustments to this initial idea. But I think this is a good starting point, a good initial idea. Snow and sleet accumulation. Obviously, the mountains, again, I think many mountain spots are an essential lock for at least 8 or 10 inches of snow, probably some totals that will be higher than that, over a foot in some spots, maybe many spots. As you get down to places like Hickory, Statesville, Winston-Salem, Shelby, it gets much more questionable because you're looking at that battle between snow and sleet. The more sleet you get, the less accumulation on the ground you see. Sleet does not accumulate nearly as effectively as snow does. Charlotte, kind of on the border between this 1 to 2 and 2 to 6 inch area. And again, I think that's the right idea because first of all, you'll get an initial potential for snow very early Sunday morning, and then there'll be that backside, that comma head that could pivot through and put down another inch or two on the very tail end of this storm system. Ice accumulation ideas, and again, that's the initial idea, 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch, including places like Charlotte, parts of the Triad, the westernmost triangle region. And I would say, looking at the data as we speak, I'd really hone in on the I-85 corridor, Charlotte up to the Triad, and maybe points 50 miles either side of that. That's the area I am most concerned about the freezing rain potential. There is the chance that if you see more freezing rain than sleet, some spots could get over that 1/2 inch plus threshold, and that's when you get into some big problems with freezing rain accumulation. So I think anybody needs to prepare for a major winter storm north and west of I-95, and especially as you get further north and west from there toward I-85 and points toward the foothills and the mountains. But along that I-85 corridor and the surrounding areas, please continue to make preparations for the potential for an extended period of power outages. There could be a lot of trees and power lines coming down if this freezing rain scenario materializes. So make sure you're prepared with some food on hand that does not require electricity to stay fresh. A way to prepare that food. Make sure you have your medication stocked up for a few days with the potential for extended power outages. And better to be safe than sorry for sure in this type of scenario. I'll leave you with this, our Futurecast modeling. This is what it puts out for snow totals. And I put this out on Twitter and Facebook a little bit earlier before I cut the video. And then there's the ice accumulation. Now, it doesn't necessarily do a great job distinguishing between sleet and freezing rain, but you get the idea. This is, I think, a pretty good starting point for what we're looking at. You're going to have mountains, big snows, foothills, the transition, and the battle between snow and sleet. And then you get down to Charlotte, Greensboro, western parts of the Triangle, even Raleigh itself. You're going to be looking at that battle between freezing rain and sleet. And again, even the rain area could certainly make it up to I-95 or so, and maybe even the eastern side of the Charlotte viewing area. It just depends on how the thermal profiles and the temperatures unfold. But bottom line is, major disruptive winter storm still looks like it's on the way. We will keep you completely up to date weather every 10 minutes on television on Spectrum News 1. And be sure you download that Spectrum News app. We will keep you completely up to date, and in the event of power outages, of course, you can stream us live right there within the app, and that's available to any Spectrum internet customer. Everybody, have a wonderful day. Make those preparations. Stay safe, and God bless.